Broadcasting stations.
Oh, yeah.
It's time for Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here is your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
The Grizz are back in action tonight. Hope you had a great Valentine's Day, everybody. Yeah, so after tonight, the Grizzlies will have 25 games left. So basically, you play almost three-quarters or over two-thirds of your year when they get to the All-Star break. In talking to a bunch of guys involved with NBA, they are in need of the All-Star break. 57 games in this short period of time, and then it'll be a sprint to the end. Ja did not back down on the we're fine in the West stuff. But with the moves that have been made, they're a 2 seed now by 2.5 games. J-Mo, quick question for you. Will the Grizz be the number 2 seed when this season in the regular season comes to a completion?
I am going to say no, just because I'm not sure. We haven't heard any update on the Steven Adams timetable, and I know 5 weeks would be the first week of March, assuming that's the extent of it.
Taylor Jenkins basically said things are going well in that regard, but at this point, we're sticking to the original timetable. So you're looking March for sure, right?
Yeah, so I'm going to say no then. I mean, there's too many teams behind them that are getting better. Everyone's so close. I think they're 2 games in front of the Kings right now.
2.5.
2.5 games in front of the Kings, and there's teams right behind them that are a game, 2 games behind them.
Here come the Suns. The Suns are 3.5 games behind.
Just got Booker back.
The Grizz.
Even without KD, that's a good team.
The Clippers are going to start playing Kawhi more. The Mavericks now have Kyrie. They are 4.5 games behind the Grizzlies. That would be the 6th seed. I say this. I think no one's catching the Nuggets. Okay? The Nuggets are going to be the number 1 seed. You got 25 games left.
I agree.
Okay? They got a 5-game lead on the Grizz. They got a 7.5-game lead on Sacramento, which I think is going to go backwards anyway. The Suns are not going to catch them. They're 8.5 games back. You're not going to do that in 25 games. So I think the Nuggets are solid at number 1. I think the Grizzlies' hold on number 2 is tentative. When does Steve-O get back? Do they start playing like they did earlier in the year? Does Luke Kennard make any difference? I think the bigger question might be, and this is tough, I think they'll hold on, but I'm not sure. Will they host a first-round game? In other words, you got to be a 4 seed or better. Will that occur at this moment? The Suns are the 4th seed, and they are 3.5 games behind the Grizzlies.
I think they'll host. But even that, like you said, is very tentative as well. Everyone is so close in that regard.
Well, the Clippers are only a half a game behind the Suns, and the Mavericks are a game behind the Suns. So that's 5 and 6 right there.
And it seems like everyone like 7-11 or 7-10 is like 1 game outside of that, like 10 games back of first place. So if they're 9-8, yeah, like 1 game outside of that. And even so, we talked about this a lot. It's so much about matchups. Do I even want to be the 2 seed? If the Pelicans get healthy with all their players back,
if they started today, that would be the team.
Exactly. And so if they get healthy right now, right as the playoffs start, do you even want to be matched up with that team? Because they were a number 2 seed.
That's impossible to tell because, 1, will Zion Williamson be back?
That's the question.
And 2, would they win their play-in series?
If they're healthy, I think they would.
Because let's see, who would they play? They play Utah at this point, right?
And Utah is moving Mike Conley, starting Colin Sexton now. So you're right; they would have to win the play-in series. But we haven't seen a ton of playoff series so far. But as it stands right now, I feel like the better team is pretty much always going to win that. And so I think the healthy Pelicans would be better than whoever they play. I would think. I don't know for sure.
Right.
And that would be a terrifying first round. What about the Warriors? If the Warriors get that first, do you even want to be the 2 seed in that case? So many questions. Seeding is just so wild this year in the Western Conference.
Yes, but would that be the case? Wouldn't the Warriors end up playing the Nuggets if that were the case?
Yeah, if they were,
they would play Minnesota in the play-in game if it all started today.
That's right.
There's 25 games to go. There's going to be some shuffling. I do think that Phoenix has a really good chance with their personnel when Kevin Durant comes back, if they learn to play with one another. I mean, they have a good chance of becoming the number 2 seed. I don't think they're going to catch the Denver Nuggets. I do, however, think there is the possibility that they would catch the Grizzlies. They'd only have to do it 3.5 games. And how many times do Phoenix and Memphis still play? If you can look that up very quickly, because the Grizzlies have 25 games left. I think they still have some with Phoenix, which would make it easier for Phoenix if they can beat them. Then you get a whole game right there.
It looks like they do not play Phoenix again this year.
They're done with Phoenix. Well, that makes it a little more difficult for the Suns to catch the Grizzlies.
And Phoenix played Sacramento last night, and that's the team directly in front of them. They still have 2 more games against Sacramento, too, and that was without Kevin Durant. They even won that game.
Yeah.
But Booker's back, and that makes a huge difference as well.
Booker back makes – and the biggest question is going to be, will they be able to play together? You only got one ball. And I do believe Chris Paul will give it up, but Booker needs the ball. There's no doubt about that. Durant needs the ball. What is DeAndre Ayton like with just sort of playing a lesser role? I don't know. Maybe he wants to win bad enough that he'll change his whole view of how he should be played, and we'll see. But there's going to have to be some adjustments made before you know. I'm still not convinced Dallas is a better team with Kyrie Irving. One thing I know for sure, Irving will try to be a good teammate to Luka. I think we saw that. I know it screwed it up. But in case you don't know, there was a tight game. I'm trying to remember who they lose to the other night.
Timberwolves.
Yeah, they're playing Minnesota. And it's a very close game, and they're going to take the last shot to win the game in regulation. And Irving and Luka just kept passing the ball to one another, deferring to one another, trying to be a good teammate. And they did it so many times that Irving finally fumbled the ball on a turnover, and they never got the shot.
But like you said, that's a good sign.
That's a good sign, but here's the other aspect of that no one ever seems to take into account. Okay? They have offense. Who's going to play defense on that team?
That's what they missing Maxi Kleba so much. And Maxi Kleba, I think, is overlooked as how good he is on defense. He can guard 3 through 5, and other than him, they just don't have an interior defender whatsoever. So he gets healthy, it's a much better team. But like you said, with Kyrie and Luka, that's already a good start.
It is. I think, I'm not a Kyrie Irving fan for a lot of reasons, particularly most of them off the court. But I do admire. I mean, Cleveland doesn't win that championship with LeBron. That the one year they won that title without Irving being really the MVP of that series. He changed his role. He deferred to LeBron most of the time, and then he hit some big, huge shots to win that title.
He did.
I do believe he will be a team guy. I wouldn't be surprised if he's back with LeBron in L.A. next year either. He won't even talk about what's going to happen next year now. And I don't blame him for that. He set the ground rules straight. He just says, basically, don't ask me about next year because I don't know.
He just got there.
I'm focused on this year,
That's right.
And I want the Mavericks to win, and how are we going to play together? And I thought that was fair because he's saying it on the front end. I don't know. And he can get more money, I believe, with the Mavericks if he were to stay. And some of that will depend on how well they do play down the stretch. And maybe he doesn't even care. He's made a bunch of money, and he's going to get a lot of money whether he stays in Dallas or goes to L.A. or wherever he ends up.
Yeah,
but
max. It seems like the only place he wasn't going to make the max extension was where he just came from in Brooklyn. Yeah, because they refused to give it to him.
So I don't know how good they'll be. I don't think they're going to be a big factor. I think Phoenix is the team that is going to move up to play Denver in a 1-2. At the end of the year. I don't think you should forget about Denver. I got a cousin whose husband is a huge Nuggets fan. They live in Denver. he sends me stuff on the Nuggets all the time. There was a very interesting post-game press conference that Eric Spoelstra had after Miami played Denver, and I'm not sure when it was. But Spoelstra was saying the way that the Nuggets play, their offense is so different than everybody else's. They don't have 60 different options on pick and roll. They have this different set with spreads and cuts that is fairly unique. And so he says it would be easier when you played this team in a playoff, see them a bunch, get to know their tendencies better. To play them once or twice a year is a very, very difficult thing. Of course, Miami's in the East, they're in the West. They only play, and I think you have to play twice, right?
Just
you
two times.
do play home and home.
Mm-hmm.
So you're playing twice, and it's pretty well spread out. And he was just basically saying how difficult it is to play Jokic and that whole team, not just because of Jokic, who's a unique guy, but because their whole scheme on offense is so different from the others. I found it really interesting, and so I think Denver needs to be in the discussion. I think in the East, it's pretty clear it's Boston and Milwaukee. What a great game they had last night. I'm just amazed at Boston, how they're staying in there with all these guys. Brogdon did play in that game.
Yeah, no Tatum, though.
But no Tatum,
no Jaylen
no Brown,
mm-hmm.
no Smart. 3 starters are not playing.
That's right.
And now last night, the guy that's really been keeping them in game, double-digit assists every game, double-digit points every game, Derek White. We talked about him the day before. Did you see? Guess who was involved? Grayson Allen. But it really was not Grayson Allen's fault. I mean, Derek White goes and tries to squeeze through 2 guys, loses the ball. When he tries to go back and get the ball, there's a collision, and he hurt his ear. I don't know if you saw this, but he could not leave with the team because of a loss of hearing in, was it his left ear? I think it's his left ear.
That's right. Yeah, left ear.
So, I mean, can they keep losing guys? They got a game tonight, their last game before the All-Star break, and he's not going to play. They lost a heartbreaker in overtime last night. It was interesting the way they came back. But
Blake Griffin starts in that game. Muscala plays really well. They just got him at the trade deadline.
Well, you know something? Holiday played really good in that game for Milwaukee. He hit the shot that ends up really winning the game at the end in the overtime.
40 points.
But, you know, how good was Giannis? I mean, Giannis, he's incredible.
And like you said, you mentioned this last week, and I've been thinking about it ever since you said it. It's such a good point. It's these 2 guys with that tertiary guy that can play the role. And for the Bucks, it's like you said, Drew Holiday has the propensity to score 40 on any given night.
Yeah.
You got Giannis that could score 40 every night. And then don't forget about Chris Middleton. He's right there and can score well and play defense too.
Yeah. What did they get for DiVincenzo? They sent DiVincenzo away to Golden State. I'm trying to. I mean, I'm looking up and I see DiVincenzo in that uniform, and I don't even remember that move. Do you?
I don't remember it this offseason. I know it was this offseason, but I don't remember how they acquired him. Whether he was a free agent, he might have been a free agent.
Has he been around long enough to be a free agent?
I believe so.
Gosh, doesn't seem like he would be, but you know, possibly. Anyway. Just a lot of interesting things here because Denver and Phoenix to me they're the ones. I don't think Dallas is going anywhere with their move. Memphis stayed pat, and I don't think they'll stay the 2 seed, but I don't think they'll lose a home court first round game.
You're right. It was last year at the trade deadline. They traded him, the Bucks traded him to the Kings. His contract was expiring. They got Serge Ibaka. It was a 4-team deal. Okay. Then this past offseason, he was a free agent and signed with the Warriors, but he was traded away from the Bucks before he even had a chance to re-sign there.
That's interesting because, he can hurt you in a lot of different ways. He's like one of those unsung guys. Tonight, it's the Grizz and Utah, and the Grizz are 8.5-point favorites. Utah as totally, like they were going to be a rebuild team before the trade deadline. Now they're decimated, so Memphis should win that one, and at least for a short period of time, I think they're going to keep the number 2 seed. Man, we've got some really good hoops tonight in the SEC. We're going to talk with Stats Norsworthy about that, Ron Higgins as well. So we're moving Ron Higgins to Wednesdays now, and Jarvis Greer is going to move to Thursdays since he's doing a little Grizz thing with Grind City Media.
So Wednesday's college basketball heavy now with the guys.
There
I love
you go.
it.
There you go. Speaking of which, the Tigers tomorrow, they'll play UCF. I wonder, do the Memphis Tigers players feel the pressure of having to win like every night? Do you think, like, I'm curious if I asked Elijah McCadden, who's just a nice guy, what is your net? Do you think he would know what net they are?
I don't. Do you?
I don't think he would. I don't think if I asked DeAndre Williams what his net was. But if I asked Kendrick Davis, he would know.
You think so?
I do. I think he would know. Kendrick Davis, like if I ask him about games, he'll cite exactly what he did against the team 3 years ago.
Wow.
He's
like Sean McVay memory.
He's very savvy. I might ask him about a certain game. He goes, "Oh, well, that was a good game, but my sophomore year at SMU, I took this guy. He had this defender on. I just cleaned his clock, and I scored 82. Whatever. He knows. He knows. So I think he is. But I think for the most part, most of the guys, because it's an older team, I think they're pretty aware of their predicament. I think if you were a younger team, and I'm not sure. They just go, oh, yeah, we just keep winning, we're in for sure. They wouldn't really know the specifics. And like I say, I bet you half the team does not even know what their net would be.
Well, I thought it was interesting. Coach Hardaway, when he was asked, was it before the Temple game, he was asked, what do you think the most important win of the year was? And he said, well, South Florida, because we had to win. Otherwise, we would find ourselves outside the tournament. I found that interesting, too. I would have guessed that the coaching staff was just focused on, winning their league tournament, being in the best position to win their league tournament to get in. So I was even surprised that the coaching staff was aware of the net. So it wouldn't be outside of the realm of comprehension that Kendrick Davis would be aware of that situation as well.
No, I think he would be. But I would say the majority of the team would not. So that'll be a good game. I'm not worried about the offense. You realize for the last month how good Memphis' offense has been? Averaging in the 80s. They shoot 47% from the field. And they are, at least in every game, they've had 15 or more assists. One exception, that they had a bad game in the game they gave away to Tulane. They had all those turnovers, 22 turnovers. Otherwise, they've been really good with turnovers. Last two games, under double digits with turnovers.
And forcing a lot as well. I think they're at top of the league in forcing turnovers. So it's good to be low in your own turnover numbers and force a lot on the other end.
But defense, particularly perimeter defense, three-point shooting, allowing easy shots for the opposition, nowhere near what they were a year ago. That is a bone of contention. They've gotten better with the rebounding, but they have not gotten better with defending the three, and they're going to need to do that because UCF hit a bunch of threes in the double overtime loss that the Tigers had a 14-point lead fairly late in that game and blew that game. There's just no doubt they blew that game. If I could take 3 games back this year, and if you had those 3, instead of 19-6, you'd be 22-3. If you got the Seton Hall game back, because that was just unlucky. Big man hitting a 30-foot bank shot at the end, didn't even want to take the shot because Memphis' defense was so good. That was just unlucky. And then the 2 games you blew, the Tulane home game and the UCF game. If you had those 3 back, you would be sitting as a 7 seed probably right now without any worries. But you can't take them back. That's the way it is. And basically you've got to win 4 out of the next 6 because you can't lose to any team not named Houston.
Do you think Tulsa, because Tulsa only shot, 30-something% from 3, and Tulane only shot 30-something% from 3. Did the Tigers play better perimeter defense in those games, or did that have more to do with them just missing shots. Because the last 2 games, the three-point percentage has been high.
Tulsa's just a bad team.
Is that right?
They're the worst team in the conference. SMU, I think, is second worst. I don't know, because then look what's happened in other games.
Temple shot 50% from 3.
And you know what? You know what they average on the year from 3? 32%.
Really?
So how much of that is Memphis's poor play? Anyway, that's the way that works out. We're going to shift gears, as we always do. Our good friend Brett Norsworthy will be in the house. Good to see his smiling face. I'm going to ask him about some other things besides just SEC hoops. I want to talk a little golf with him, because it's crazy what is going on in golf. When you could play in Phoenix, and now you're playing in LA, the Genesis, which is Tigers tournament, but you $3.6 million to the winner now for every tournament. $3.6 million.
It's going to make our golf picks. The winners are going to get a lot of money this year.
I know it. I'm looking forward to that. We're going to start with Augusta, that is for sure. All right, if you missed your Valentine's celebration and you're in the doghouse, Dinstall's has the sweetest way to say I love you. She's still got them, Becky. She's still got everything going. Strawberries, chocolates, cashew crunch, and more. You can now walk up and get the strawberries. You don't have to pre-order. They're there. They're ready to go. You can get them at Laurelwood, Germantown, Collierville, and downtown, all open today until 6. Pleasant View closed. They had a little sprinkler issue. Apparently a pipe burst. They'll be open again tomorrow. Don't worry. That place is just so much fun to be. But if you missed it, don't worry about it. You can still make amends. Get strawberries and cashew crunch, put them together, give it to your significant other, and I'm promising you, whatever doghouse you were in, it goes away. That's what Dinstall's does. He's got a smile on his face. He's ready to go. Brett Norsworthy comes your way in just a minute.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hey guys, Platinum Jewelers wants to make you feel like a king or queen this holiday season and all year long. It's where the Tigers and Grizzlies go. Platinum Jewelers specializes in diamond engagement rings and customization, and they have a wide variety of watches, bracelets, earrings, and rings. They'll pay top dollar for your gold and diamonds, and wholesale pricing is available. Platinum Jewelers, 9387 Poplar Avenue in Germantown, next to Fresh Market. Call 901-907-0626. Platinum Jewelers, proud supporters of the Memphis Tigers.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. In these uncertain economic times, there are so many things as a contractor and a business owner that I cannot control. The rising cost of materials, not to mention fuel and transportation costs. In the last 2 years, shingle prices have almost doubled, and commercial materials have doubled. And I don't have to tell you what fuel costs these days. But you know what I can control? How much markup I put on a project. I have always prided myself in knowing I never gouge a customer. But in an effort to ensure my crews have work and my customers are being treated fairly, I have lowered my profit margin, hoping to give you a price you can live with and keeping my crews busy. So if you need a roof or gutters, please give us a call. Fiveash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. Fiveash Roofing, a proud sponsor of Tiger Athletics and a member of the Tigers home team. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Hi folks, the Chevy Sheriff with good news for car and truck buyers. The Chevy Ranch has new cars and trucks in stock, ready for immediate delivery. Factory rebates up to $1,000 and Sunrise discounts high as $4,000. Immediate financing available with the interest low as 2.9%. A $15 million used car inventory with cars and trucks for every budget, and a lot specializing in cars and trucks under $15,000. If you've been turned down by another dealer, see us at Sunrise. We specialize in financing, and Sunrise is the home of the guaranteed credit approval. Find new roads for the Sunrise Chevy Ranch. Collierville.
Looking for a cigar lounge to call your own? One that offers a laid-back environment with a full bar, comfortable seats to kick back in and enjoy a beer or a cocktail, and a cigar? Then G-Spot, Memphis' premier cigar lounge, is just for you. Offered a wide selection of cigars, and it's open 7 days a week, starting at 12 noon for your smoking pleasure. G-Spot Cigar Lounge is now offering a limited number of memberships that provide a locker and a humidor credit. For more information, call the G-Spot Cigar Lounge, 901-801-4276. Listen Sundays at 11 a.m. to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Welcome into the Family Leisure Studios. By the way, good news, they have extended through the month of floor model sales, so you're still going to get the lowest prices on pool tables, spas, patio furniture, and the game tables. So please, head on over, I-40 and Wooden Road, make that left-hand turn. See my guys. You'll be happy that you did at Family Leisure. And you know our title sponsor, it's Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch, and this is unique. They actually will pay you to do business with them. That's the new thing. If you would like luxury, nothing better than a Genesis G70, and you agree to finance with Genesis Financial, they'll give you $1,000. They're paying you $1,000 to do business with them. Nothing like that ever before. It's the coolest. All you got to do is go down Highway 78. The very first exit in Mississippi is Craft Road. Turn left. See my guys. Go see, new name I'm going to give you. Instead of Chris True and all those guys like Rick Fink and David Richardson, John Burns, those guys. Instead of them, go see Vinny. Canadian guy. Wonderful. He's over the Genesis department. You'll love doing business with Vinny. I always love seeing the face of my friend, the Forest City Flash. That would be Brett Norsworthy. I understand why you got a smile on your face. It just dawned on me. Pitchers and catchers have reported.
They're there. We are happy for that. I've spent all week kind of complaining about the boatload of new rules in baseball. We get new stuff dropped today. Now today, the emphasis on the balk, that ever exciting play. But I'm glad we're not where we were a year ago, Dave. I would have bet and lost big last year that we weren't playing a single game because baseball's gotten to that loggerhead before. Yeah. And they got it resolved and got the season in. It finished real late. This year will be a more normal calendar for all the shortcomings, all the foibles, all the flaws. And it is horribly flawed, starting at the top. At the very top, it's so ineptly operated. I can't wait.
Yeah,
it still does something for me.
We all love baseball.
Speaking of which, Dave, as much as anything, the box scores, I have to have them.
Where do you get them now?
Now online. I miss that. I miss having that page in front of me with them all there. You know,
here's the problem with waiting for the box scores, like in the Commercial Appeal or any daily newspaper now. It's from 2 days ago.
It's like
that's why you got to look online.
It's back to the 70s when I get my sporting news in, and all the box scores were from last week.
All right, while we're on baseball, you know that at AutoZone Park this year, when you go to see a baseball game, the home plate umpire is going to be standing behind the plate, and he is going to have an earpiece in one ear, his best ear. I don't know. Yeah. For me, it would be the left. And he's going to wait.
I'm a right ear guy, Dave.
Well, that's what makes the world go round.
That's it.
He's going to wait. The pitcher's going to go to his
He kicks.
Stretch. He fires. He's going to be about a half a beat delay because the umpire's going to be listening to a computer, a robot, whatever you want to call it. And that robot's going to go strike. And he's going to go, strike one.
Will anybody ring them up anymore?
Sure they will, but there'll be a half a second delay.
Won't that just be theatrics when they ring them up?
It will, because the computer's going to have done that.
And don't they know nobody's paying to see them be theatrical?
No.
It'll be like the Naked Gun.
Yeah, there you go. It's crazy, but it's happening. That is the reality of AAA baseball this year. It is going to become the major league reality.
It's on the way, and Dave, through the years, almost every big baseball change that's been made, I was foursquare against it, complained about it, moaned about it, whether it was interleague, whether it was way back the DH, then interleague.
Well, the DH still stinks, in my opinion.
It does. And now the clock, but I end up getting used to liking all of it. I prefer to go to St. Louis to see interleague than anything. Because a lot of those teams,
do you like putting the guy on second base in the 10th inning?
No, it drives me crazy. That makes my head explode. Now, it will really make my head explode when they do it in the postseason. And I'm saying as we get closer to postseason this year, they will announce that.
I just can't see it happening in postseason. I don't mind it during the regular season.
Well, we had that glacial game in the postseason last year that they can't stand because it's the timing for TV.
Yeah.
And we know it in radio. Anybody that's ever been around a radio station knows if you carry any kind of baseball for even automated, it's a timing nightmare because you might have a 2-hour game and you might have a 4-hour and 50-minute game.
Well, that's baseball. I've come to love it. It's a different rhythm. We know that.
I
we
do
accept
love
it. But
when I'm there, I never think about the time. But when I'm watching at home, I do.
You know what? I think in my own head, I've always liked games that were 1-0, 2-1, 3-2.
I want low scoring.
I've always loved that. You know why? Because 1, they're quicker. 2, every pitch has meaning. When it's 7-1,
and you say that, and the best game that you've ever been to in your life is the best game I've ever been to in my life, and
World
it finished
Series.
10-9.
It was crazy. That had more false finishes than a concerto.
Yeah,
that was incredible.
The best game we've ever been to was 10-9.
Yeah, it was.
And
it was a
we're
great game.
And we're 2-1 devotees.
Yeah. Well, that was World Series, and that was
right.
2 pitches away
and we were there.
from the end
We
of
can
the darn
rationalize
series.
anything.
We're sitting next to the players' parents. Come on.
Remember, you can rationalize a jet airplane.
Yeah. You can?
Buying one. Oh, yeah. I needed it.
Yeah. I can't wait for that to happen to me.
I can make money leasing it out.
Yeah, there you go. All right, we got before I get to hoops, and I want to get to that, but I got to talk golf with you. When we first started doing talk radio together, did you ever foresee that a guy could win the Phoenix Open and win $3.6 million?
Dave, at the late, great George Bryan's funeral, Jim Gallagher was there at Mossy that day and was visiting with him. We were talking about the purses. We were talking about LIV. We were talking about the controversy in golf. And he said the PGA Tour players, I said yesterday with your hit with us, the PGA Tour players should send gift baskets to the LIV players. Look at these tournaments. You know what Jim Gallagher won in 1995 when he won the FedEx St. Jude Classic?
He won $200,000?
200, very good, Dave. 225,000. Finished 1, not T2, not T7,
Right.
Uno.
What? I think last place is $200,000 now.
Jay Morgan, help us if we could find out from last week on tour. What was the last? I don't think it was that
J-Mo,
much.
last place, last week at Phoenix. Find out what the last place guys, because I'm sure it was a tie.
But I'd like to see where 225 came in. I mean, it came in.
I'm telling you, 225 might have been last.
42,600.
All right, where did 225 land? In the neighborhood.
In that neighborhood.
For the play, cause we know what the winner is just outrageous. The winner's caddy got more than Jim won for winning the FedEx St. Jude Classic. If he got 10%.
Oh my gosh! Think about that. That's right. He won $360,000.
We're back to arguing over the caddies, aren't we?
I know it.
The bat boy.
I still think Stevie Williams had a role in all that.
Did nothing. He toted the club. Tiger said 7 iron. He handed him a 7 iron.
Tiger did win a bunch without him. So
tied for 32nd, got 6 figures.
32nd.
Wow.
Now 1995 is all of a sudden 28 years ago too.
Yeah, no, it is. $3.6 million is just amazing to me.
This year at the FedEx they're playing for $20 million.
I know.
$20 million.
I know. And you're right. The LIV Tour made them finally pay the players what they could have played for a long time. So I don't understand.
They were sitting on dough forever.
Yeah, it does.
It kind of does now.
But doesn't
the bull in the china cabinet approach didn't help Phil?
No.
And the front guy.
I was just going to say to you, don't you think that Phil lost a lot of popularity
Tons.
with that move.
Tons.
I don't think of him the same way.
No,
And it makes me think that
a
he
year
really,
removed from winning at Kiewit to PGA at 51 to
Right.
persona non grata.
I know.
And he did it to himself.
Don't you also think, like, in my head, I'm trying to rationalize for him. Don't you think he needed the money, that he's squandered away so much money that he goes, oh, God, this is too much for me to pass? Because not only did he give up his legacy, you know darn well he would have ended up being NBC or CBS's lead analyst.
He probably would have been, I don't know who's going to replace Nance, but he would probably been the person with that person going forward in the future at the Masters.
Yeah, I don't think Nance is going anywhere for a long time with his new
stepping
deal.
away from basketball.
Right. But I think he could have been this year if he chose to. He could have been the analyst because
over Trevor Immelman.
Trevor Immelman was a terrible pick in my opinion.
How passe is that?
I don't understand why they took Trevor Immelman. To be honest with you,
I don't get it.
Could Phil get back into favor with people? You think?
I don't know. I think
when you fall out with that bunch.
Yeah. I think the toothpaste is out of the tube, as they would say, on him, because he basically knew what the stakes were. They talked to him about it. I'm sure of it. And he just said, no, I'm going.
And look,
and he can't win.
And that kind of money. I just wish so many of those guys would say it's the money. It's why I love the Pat Perez approach. He's 47. He said, I've been getting my brains beat out since I was 10 years old in Southern California playing youth golf by a guy named Tiger Woods. I hadn't made what he made. I'm doing this for the dough. I love that. But don't talk about growing the game and it being all altruistic.
No.
It was
it's a money grab. It's all a money grab.
And Phil just said, look, I came a cropper on a lot of investments and bad bets, pardon the pun. I needed the cash. And I'm really mad at the denizens of power in professional golf.
Yeah.
Cool.
Right. But he was doing it to grow golf.
Yeah.
Which is a fallacy, just like Greg Norman. Greg Norman it's a huge money grab for him too.
But Dave, honestly though, if Liv called today and said, Brett, we will pay you XYZ
to be an analyst on their broadcast, I guess I would, because I'm not hooked up with the PGA Tour. But let me just say, if you were Dan Hicks,
that's a tough one. That is a tough one.
You're entrenched with
the USGA.
PGA, USGA. Mm-hmm. Are you going to leave for a few more million?
Well, how many few more?
What difference does it make? He's 60 years old now. His wife's still making money, for goodness sake.
Makes a lot of difference.
Really?
Because
that's where you and I are different. It would not to me. If I'm making $20 million a year, which I think Hicks is making, or in that neighborhood.
If the Louisville Cardinals called you today and said, we want you to be the voice of the Louisville Cardinals and we will pay you double, would you take it?
This point, no, because poor Paul Rogers. I love Paul.
Yeah,
I couldn't bounce him.
And a lot of things are, and you're right. The clarity there is at this point, but the young Dave, the 30-year,
the young Dave would have done it.
No doubt. Had mouths to feed and prices to put on and cars to buy.
If Dan Hicks is 30,
yeah.
I mean, for double, triple the money, probably, maybe.
But it would have to be a lot of money to sell your soul, to be in bed with that bunch.
All right, we got to get to this. Yeah. Lots of crazy things. Good games tonight.
Real good games.
Kentucky at Mississippi State. You
must win for both.
I think so.
For both.
Kentucky's 7-5. Mississippi State, really, they're 5-7 in the league. And I haven't seen a line on that game.
Oh, I have. It's State's 3-point favorite.
I think they should be.
Rattleball 5 in a row now. State has.
They're starting to play together. And you know who I'm happy for? I am happy for DJ Jeffries. Have you seen any of his press conferences? Like, he's becoming a spokesperson for them, and he's so honest, and he talked about how bad he's been and how much better he's gotten lately, and I'm pulling for the kid. I wish he had stayed a Tiger.
And I watched Musa Cisse last night. You can turn on the TV almost every night and see a former Tiger.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, and everybody else can for a lot of other teams as well. That's where we are. And also tonight, the famed third Wednesday in February game between Alabama and Tennessee. No coffee table books written about it like the football third Saturday of October, but the famed third Wednesday.
It's a famed game this time.
It's a real
Alabama
big game.
hasn't lost a game in the league. Tennessee needs to win.
Tennessee's favored And if Bama gets past this one, they might pull off the 18-0.
I think
in the SEC.
I agree with you. If they win this game tonight, and here's the thing, Tennessee can't score.
Did Bama knock your socks off when you saw them in person?
I didn't think they could advance
I can't wait
that
till you see
far.
Houston Sunday, and I want to ask.
Yeah.
That's going to be the first thing I ask you Tuesday, is because Bama beat Houston in the regular season game
Right.
in a classic. At
Great
Fertitta.
game.
Really kind of stole it late. They did, but I want to hear your assessment, because you will have seen the two best teams in the country. I think
That's true. Maybe. I think it's up for grabs. But, my sense of it is when I saw Alabama, I felt like this is a team that's going to get to the Sweet 16, and then they don't defend well enough
bogged down
in a physical kind of ball game where they're letting,
shots don't fall.
You're
not
not
easy.
calling ticky-tack fouls. That they're not good enough defensively to advance. That's why I really thought Tennessee had the best chance. But Tennessee really struggles in scoring, and Vescovi has just not been as good as I thought he was going to be.
No, he's not. In Tennessee, I don't think they're a second weekend team guaranteed, because
I agree.
they're past.
I agree.
And they're present.
No, and then the other team in the equation, which also has an interesting game tonight, and maybe is a must-win for Arkansas. They're at A&M.
It's kind of must for both of them.
Let me just say this. A&M got to be for A&M in this game.
If you're a Tiger
just
fan.
selfishly, because the Tigers have a win over them.
I think so. We talked about this on Monday. I think Tiger fans now want A&M win out.
Absolutely.
But don't get it to where they stay in the trading range with Memphis, because even that head-to-head may not win out over that net.
Well, that's true. That is true. But
you want A&M to get out of your net
here's what
range.
I want them to get to, whatever it is that makes that a quad one win for Memphis, because that will go a long, long way. And if they're equal there, near equal, then the head-to-head will come in.
Old Southwest
play.
Conference game tonight between Arkansas and A&M.
I
It's
know.
got a football feel to it tonight. When you did A&M, you did basketball, didn't you?
I did. Shelby Metcalf was the coach.
G. Raleigh White.
And the assistant coach in those days, John something, I can't remember his name at the moment. He's now their color man.
Is that right?
And he and Shelby Metcalf made me feel so good. They were so nice to me in the year that I did A&M.
Shelby always looked like his shoes were too tight.
John Thornton?
John Thornton, that's his name.
Wow.
Yeah.
But they got a great arena now.
That's amazing how you can find stuff.
Richard Cross, he's done a couple games this year at College Station, and he says, it's like most places. When you win, the building rocks.
You know, I never.
If you don't, it's full.
I've not seen the new building, so
The campus is perfect.
Yeah.
Could I ask you all a quick high hard one
Sure.
about that Tennessee game? Tennessee favored by 3, like you said. If I forced you to gamble on that game, who would you take?
Bama.
In TBA?
3 points. Whew. I think I'd take Tennessee. I think
I don't
it's
trust Ray
must.
Barnes.
I think it's must win for them.
Especially losing 2 in a row. I would take Tennessee, too.
But nothing loves anybody like the net loves Tennessee. They just can't lose enough to drop.
No. And Mike DeCourcy pointed this out. Nobody in of the net is more in love with the Mountain West than they are. The Mountain West is the most overrated league in history.
I think they got 7 pretty good teams. But Wyoming goes to New Mexico and wins last night.
It goes to New Mexico and wins. And we were talking about yesterday on the show how good New Mexico was.
Yeah. They only in the beginning of the year. Then they got caught. And then Utah State, they lost to SMU. Come on.
And San Jose State wins last night.
I'm going to tell you
over
at the
Vegas.
top, I don't believe the Mountain West is better than the American, and the American gets zero respect.
The bottom of the American's really dreadful.
It's bad. I can't argue that. I can only give you 5 for coming in. Thank you much. I'm always late. Poor Ron Higgins today. I'm shortchanging him, but it's always a pleasure to chat with Brett Norsworthy. This portion of our show is brought to you by Conway. Conway services heating, cooling, plumbing, electric. I like to say this. Every system in your home, if you got a problem, they're there to rescue you. 384-3511. Right now, they got this drain special. They'll clear your drain, and if it's not clear, It's free. They'll come out and do it again until it's perfect for you. All you got to do is visit conwayservices.com. You'll get the details, the terms, and the conditions. They're good for everything in your house. Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric. To Baton Rouge we go. Ron Higgins comes your way in just a minute.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to real sports talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Bobby J is waiting to get your call today and put you in a new Kia from Gossett Kia Covington Pike. Hit the road with 41 MPG Highway for just $278 a month in your new 2023 Kia Forte LXS $27.99 due at signing. Or rule the road in luxury with 2023 Kia K5 LXS $337 a month, $31.99 due at signing, both 36-month lease. And if we don't have what you're looking for, not a problem. Bobby J will order you a new ride today. You won't pay over MSRP. And keep cruising in confidence with Kia's best-in-class warranty, 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Ask for Bobby J. He'll put you in a new Kia today. Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike. Online, KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Quote $30,000 per year, $650 acquisition fee. Forte LXS PE $581 $756, MSRP $21,985. K5 PG $201 $565, MSRP $26,805. Includes all rebates and incentives. P of $695. Must finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 2/28/23. Dealer stock only. Warranties a limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details.
I had a nighttime routine for my frequent heartburn. I would drink milk. I would sleep upright with more pillows. But that painful burning stayed. So I made Prilosec OTC part of my morning routine. With just one pill each morning, Prilosec OTC prevents excess acid production, blocking heartburn day and night. Now I have a new nighttime routine. I call it sleeping.
One pill a day, 24 hours, zero heartburn. With Prilosec OTC. It's possible while taking Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
Hey, y'all. It's the Mid-South Sports Boat and RV Show, February 17th through the 19th at the Agri Center. Come buy your new boat and make some memories at the lake this summer with family and friends. Premier dealers showcasing the newest ski boats, pontoons, fishing boats with huge show specials. Enter your chance to win daily door prizes like a surfboard from Counts Marine and much more. It's all at the Mid-South Sports Boat and RV Show, February 17th through the 19th. For more info, go to MemphisBoatShow.com. That's MemphisBoatShow.com.
At the Agri Center.
It may be cold, but the Gossett Mitsubishi Spring Sales Event will heat you up. Discover a new way to ride in your 2023 Mitsubishi Mirage and get 39 MPG combined for $17,520 or $289 a month and zero down. And check out 2023 Mitsubishi Outlander Sport for $29 a month, 29 MPG Highway, or get 2.9 for 36 months. Want peace of mind? We Gossett with Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. 2023 Mitsubishi Mirage, $289 per month. 2023 Outlander Sport, $429 per month. You won't go wrong ever when you shop Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online at MemphisMitsubishi.com. You want it? We Gossett at Gossett Mitsubishi.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Mirage PHW 2846, MSRP 18020, Sport PUW 2230, MSRP 29545, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 695, excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 2/28/2023. Dealer stock only.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
To Baton Rouge we go. We switch now. Ron Higgins will come your way in this time slot, usually a little bit earlier. Every Wednesday now. And he joins us, and I got to ask you this really quick. It's I'm throwing you a curve here because you weren't expecting this. But Brett Norsworthy wanted me to ask you this, and I thought, it's a great question. Oklahoma and Texas have declared, not this season, but the following season, they're in the SEC. When it comes to football, Ron, where should those two teams be placed? Because we're going to have divisions, right?
I think they have divisions. I mean, I'm not sure for sure if they will stick with divisions, but if they are, You'd have to put them geographically. I logically put them in the West. I mean, you just have to.
So who would you move then from the West? One team's got to go, right, to make it even.
Yeah. One team's got to go. I would probably.
You got to keep Ole Miss and Mississippi State together. Arkansas has got to be there. They're part of that deal. LSU belongs there probably, right? Or would you move LSU to the East?
I mean, if you look at logically at the teams that are in the West now, LSU's kind of the lone wolf. Arkansas deserves to be in the West because it has a natural tie-in, with history with Texas.
Right. So let's just say Arkansas for sure, Texas, Oklahoma. You got to keep the teams that have been together forever. So you got to put Ole Miss, and you got to put MSU. That's 5. So now you got to. There's 3 more. Alabama and Auburn have to stay, right?
Yeah, I would think so. I've always thought Auburn should be in the East because of geographical.
But you got to keep Auburn and Alabama together, don't you?
You have to keep them together. So that would be.
Who are we missing here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. LSU would be the one that it's between LSU and who am I missing here in the West? I'm having
we got Alabama. We've got
Alabama, Auburn,
Arkansas, LSU, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, A&M.
A&M, that's the team.
Yeah.
They got to be there. So you're right. If you think about it, LSU is the team that would move to the East, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I would think logically, yeah. I mean, I think everybody else kind of got to stick together. Everybody else has a natural long-time geographical rivals, and LSU really doesn't. I mean, they really don't. I mean, they're kind of out there by themselves as far as there's no in-state rival. I mean, the rivalry with Ole Miss is historical rival more than anything else. Nothing really recent.
So then you'd have LSU, Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, Mississippi, Missouri, Kentucky, Florida, and I'm missing one team.
South Carolina.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Which is the better division?
I would have to go with the West. I think the West would be a better division.
I think it's really, if Florida returns to where they are, LSU comes in, Tennessee's playing the way they are, Georgia. I mean, it's close.
Yeah, it's close.
It's close. Wow. That is amazing, those two divisions. Now, I've also heard they could go to pods, so you do 4-4-4-4. If you do that, you'd probably have Arkansas, Texas, Oklahoma, and A&M probably is one pod. That means Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Auburn, and Alabama in another pod. Then what would you do here? You'd have Tennessee, LSU, Kentucky, South Carolina, Georgia,
maybe.
Georgia, Florida, Missouri, and Vandy. Forgot about Vandy.
All right, yeah. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how it shakes out. I mean, they'll go to the spring meeting this spring with the idea of they've been working on the schedule. They just got to figure out how to do it. What's acceptable, everybody likes to do.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been working on this ever since they knew Oklahoma and Texas were coming in. They just didn't know when. But it'll be interesting. I mean, LSU's got to really readjust the schedule in a couple of years because they had a hell of a non-conference schedule in a couple of years. They had USC and UCLA in the same year. Southern Cal and UCLA in the same year for non-conference opponents. Yeah. So there'll be some adjustments for LSU in their non-conference. I don't know if it's some, another. because many conference games they want to play. I think I think they should play 9 at this point. They should move up to 9.
I agree with that, and do away with the total bye game and still have 3 decent non-conference games, and just understand that with this league, you're not going to have an undefeated team.
No, it's almost impossible. It really is. It's too hard every Saturday. I mean, it's just there's too many good coaches and there's too many good players, and it's hard to go through it undefeated. I mean, a lot of things can happen: injuries, arrests. I mean, a lot of things can happen, and it's just a hard. And I think Oklahoma and Texas will find that out. They will find it's not, it's not easy to not lose, say more than 3 games a year. It's hard. I mean, you really, it's gotten really, really hard now to get through a season with 1 loss or 2 losses. Or even almost 3, because everybody's got raised their level of play.
Real quick, SEC games tonight. There's some really great basketball games tonight. Who wins? Who wins? Alabama, Tennessee.
I thought about that before we got on. I know they're playing Knoxville, right? But I've seen Alabama play a bunch. I mean, and I've seen Tennessee play a bunch. Alabama, to me, even when they're playing bad, knows how to win games. They just long and athletic, and they know how to win games. And I just can't figure out Tennessee. I don't know why they go on these bumps, because they have a ton of talent, but it's just not. It didn't translate every game.
Is it an elimination game between Kentucky at Mississippi State tonight? And who do you like?
I know State's played pretty well, but I'm gonna go. I think this is Kentucky's last stand. I think Kentucky will win the game, and of course you got Arkansas and Texas A&M. That's going to be a great. A&M has played such good defense lately. It's hard to think that even though Arkansas comes at you in ways with athletes, A&M somehow knows how to control the pace of game really well. I'm gonna go A&M with that one, but I could see Arkansas could win that one. But A&M has done a really good job defensively and controlling pace of games.
I like A&M in that game myself. I kind of think Tennessee's going to dig in tonight because they really need to keep any kind of seeding hopes alive. I got a feeling Mississippi State's playing really good. They're at home. I got a feeling Kentucky's going down. We'll see.
We'll see.
Yep. Hey, as always, we appreciate it. We appreciate you making the dates change for us, and I look forward to these visits every Wednesday. Thank you, Ron.
All right, well, take care.
You got it. That's Ron Higgins, our man down in Baton Rouge. He's brought to you by Old Dominic. Isn't that perfect? Because they know their moonshine down in Baton Rouge. But this isn't moonshine now. This stuff is the best. This new product that Master Distiller Alex Castle's finally released. She doesn't let anything out of that distillery right in the heart of downtown on Main Street until it's perfect. She waited a long time with this bottle and bond whiskey they've got and a new sipping whiskey they've released. You will love it. You can get that product. You can get their vodka. You can get it all over town, or you can go down to the distillery. And I recommend doing this at least one time. Go take the tour. Learn about the Canali family. Learn about the way they've really make this product. It's interesting to see all the machinery. Then you get to try it at the end in their beautiful bar, which you can go to anyway. You don't have to take the tour to go to the bar. It's a cool place. All you have to do is get downtown and see the good folks at Old Dominic. That'll do it for us. Tomorrow will be a lot of fun. The return of Jarvis Greer and
Russell Copeland.
To wrap up the Super Bowl. Russell's going to stay with us for the rest of the year. We have him on because there's always something on the NFL. But we've got Russell to close out the Super Bowl. That'll be a great day. Johnny Radio comes your way in a minute. See you tomorrow.
Homer Skelton Hyundai.